So the biggest word that you kind of want to look at that they're going to say is, hey, is this person reliable? Is this reliability? And you want to know, am I reliable? They want to know, are you reliable? And so when you do this, when you build your credit score, you need to show by consistency and you need to know the right practical steps. And so I'm going to show you what those 3 steps are. The first step is going to simply be this: you have to start with the right card. There's a lot of different cards out there, right? And there's a lot of different ways that you can build your credit. But I'm going to give you 3 different options that I think can help you with building your credit. And the first option is going to be one that you probably have heard of, and it's called a security card. A security card, if you think back to the days of when people used to have prepaid cards for their cell phones, you load it up and then you use all your minutes, right? Well, now let's think of this as the same type of method. You're going to get a credit card. A company I would suggest is what is called Open Sky. Open Sky you can use, you can put up to $2,500 on there, but you would put your money in it, and it's basically like a prepaid debit card in this case, but it's going to show up as a credit card. It's going to be a credit bureau that's going to report to the credit bureaus for you. That's your first option. And that's basically your money that you're using as a credit card. The second option that you can use is a beginner card. And this could be a Capital One Quicksilver, which is a good card to use. If you like Amex, you can use Credit One as well. But these are typically cards that if you don't have a good score right now or you're trying to build credit, they typically will let you apply. Now, you may have a small limit, maybe $300, so you can go buy, a bag of chips or something, right? But at the end of the day, you want to be able to use something that's going to be used by you in that sense that you can gain points and gain experience. Your third option, we call this what we like to call piggybacking. Some people say it, and you can have a family member add you as an authorized user on their account. Now, if you want that family member to really trust you as you're building credit, I tell people this: make sure one, they have good credit and they have good spending habits and they make sure that they take care of their bill. Because I have seen this with clients. They're like, hey, I can jump on with my mom or my dad, and their mom or their dad has a $40,000 credit balance that they have to utilize. And then that becomes a problem because now it's showing up on your credit that you have a bad balance. So you want to make sure whoever you're adding or whoever is adding you as an authorized user, that one, they got their ducks in a row. They're not going out tricking off and spending a bunch of money on just really dumb stuff. And then now you're having to pay the price when you're trying to build things, right? And so those are your first 3 options. And that's just the start. That's step one. Now, if you pick the right card, now the second thing is you got to use it the right way. You got to actually decide, okay, hey, I've got the right card, but now what? What do I have to do next? First, before I get into step two, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel and tap into the financial content that we're dropping each week so you can grow in your financial literacy and also be on your way to financial freedom. Step two is going to be using it the right way. So the goal here is simply activity. It's not your balance. You want to be active with using your credit. I always tell people this. They think that if you have a zero balance, that it's actually going to help you. But here's the thing. Do you know that FICO actually rewards you when you're actually active? Because if you show a zero balance, what basically happens is you're showing the credit bureaus that you're actually not spending any money at all. So you got a goose egg. It's like, hey, we see that Cameron has a zero balance. In their eyes, it looks like they're not actually using their card. And so you want to make sure that you put this card on autopilot, meaning, okay, hey, if I want to be active with my card, what does this look like? I always tell people, hey, if you're going to use credit cards, use it on something that you're already paying for. So let's say, for instance, if you know you're going to use your utility bill, then you probably should use your credit card for that and then just have it in your budget. If you've been watching our channel, you're probably familiar with the Smart 7 Budget Planner. That's something that you can use to organize your finances, and make sure you can check out this video if you want to learn more about this Smart 7 Planner. But I think that's something that can help you with paying off debt, but also staying in control of your finances. And so you want to put that on autopilot, because I think at the end of the day, if you are using it for things that you already have and you already have budgeted and you already have money for, you're going to be in the good place because you've already budgeted and the money should be there. Should be is the key, meaning you're not moving stuff around, you're not spending it on stuff you didn't plan for. And so you want to make sure when you do that, that you are being responsible with your credit cards. I get questions all the time from people. I got a question actually yesterday while we were teaching class. Somebody said, hey, what if I get a new credit card to build my credit? My answer was simply this: hey, you can get a credit card, but what is your plan? Are you just using it because you want to build credit, or are you using it on stuff that you're already going to pay for? Because most of the time, people are going to use it as an excuse to maybe buy shoes, maybe go on a trip, maybe buy something for a friend, or, something that you want to hide, right? I joke because when I see clients' credit card statements and I see things that they're doing, they don't want to show everybody what's going on. So we see a lot of vulnerable things, right? So we see things that typically everybody doesn't see. And so we kind of know the nitty gritty of what's going on in their finances. And so don't use your credit card just to go around and spend money that you don't have, would be my suggestion to you. But before we get into the last step, which I think is the most important, if you're like, hey, what is the Earners Academy? What is that? I heard you talk about it earlier. The Earners Academy is our financial coaching program that we've helped countless people get out of debt. That's allowing them to increase their capacity to be able to save, to be able to invest, and to be able to give. So if you want to learn more about that, you can check the link down below and learn more about the Earners Academy and apply today if you want to. And also drop a comment if you like this video and you want to learn more about all the content that we have. But step 3 is the most important. I would say if you can do step 1, you can do step 2. But if you don't do 3, you are not going to be in a good place with your finances. So you can basically choose the right card. You can also use it the right way, technically. But if you don't do step 3, you're not going to be okay. You have to be able to control your utilization. Now, this is what does that mean? Utilization is basically how much you use your card. Now, this is the second highest payment factor or credit factor in your score, meaning it's the highest rank. Now, you obviously want to pay on time. That's 35% of your score. But this one is the one that gets everybody is, well, hey, how much of my card can I use that doesn't hurt me? And so this is the biggest trap. This is the biggest trap for a lot of casual spenders, because people who go out and love sales and see this sale here, they use credit cards to do that. And so their utilization is going up, and then it's going down, and then it's going up. And then the thing that people don't really realize about utilization is that you need to make sure, if you are using a credit card, that you're paying it off before the statement date. Now, what is the statement date? Well, why is this important? Well, I'm sure the statement date is the day that I got to pay my money. Wrong. The statement date is actually the day that they email you and let you know what your balance is. And why is this important? Because if you don't pay before the statement date is the day that they report to Experian, to Equifax, to TransUnion. And so you need to make sure that you report on your statement date, not your due date, but your statement date. There's a difference. It's very important. And so if you go to your email right now, let's say if you had a card with Discover, I'm willing to bet and I can guarantee that if you go and type in Discover, it's going to be the same date that they send you your bill. It's not the day that you're paying them. So if they're sending you your email on the 15th, most of the time your payment is probably like the 28th, or it's usually 13 or 14 days after that. But if you're going to use your card and control your utilization, like I said, make sure that your balance is below 10% before that statement date, so you can make sure you get the most amount of points when it's showing. Now, that doesn't mean, hey, does that mean I can spend all my money from the 16th all the way to the 14th and pay? Sure, if that's what you want to do, but that's not really responsible. But you want to make sure that it shows up correctly at that time. But here's the thing. What's the goal? What does that look like for you? I want you to stay under 10%. So for sake of math and a very simple example, if you have a $500 limit, you really shouldn't spend more than $50 to $100. Really, 100 is really pushing it, but really $50 to $100, that keeps you between 10% and really about 15 to 20%. And so you want to stay at that when you are basically showing your actual credit and when it's doing it. Here's the trap that people fall into. Wow, well, I could just pay it off. I'll pay it off at the end of the month. Well, if you're building your credit, you're not really sure. Most of the time, people who are building aren't really sure of the fluctuations of life, their budget. They say they're going to pay it off. They say, hey, if I spend $500, in most cases, I'm not saying that everybody does this, but in most cases, if you're probably working with me, you probably are still trying to figure out how you're spending your money. Will you actually have $500? The average American doesn't even have $500 saved. So why do you think that you can actually have $500 paid off by the end of the actual month? And I think this is important for people to do, is to make sure that they have a plan when they're using their credit card. Thanks for tuning in for a short snippet of what's to come. Be sure to check out the full video here.